Hey guys, it's been a rather robust technical issue day. We're efforting Cam and Josh, so it'll be just a minute before we get rolling. So hold on tight, and we'll get it up and running. We had to go the Skype route just because it was, for some reason, Zoom was giving us a bunch of issues. So we'll have that up and running here in just a moment. Hope you guys are having a killer day out there. Today was probably pretty stressful for everyone just because of all the stuff that's going on. Let's see here, Josh Strang. Done. Let's see if this works. Copy and send this to them. And we should be golden. Yes, it's been that kind of day. Take a look. So we'll wait for them to ring in. Let me pull up something on the background there. It's a great shot of Josh right there. Oof. So they should be calling in any second here. And we will get started. Chats with Chad. Let's see. Josh just texted me. Let's see what we got with Josh Strang here. They're looking for my Skype name. Hold on. Chad at totalcyclist.com. Chad at totalcyclist.com. Command V. This is Josh Shredden last year. A little bit of technical issues all day long here. Love it. It's still trying to kick in Zoom. You know what I think it is? I think it's the coronavirus that's really driving us crazy here. It is nuts how many technical issues we've had today. There we go. All right, let's pull these knuckleheads in. What's up, guys?
Hey, how are ya?
Typical technical issue day. Let me try to pull you guys into the chat here. And window capture and Zoom. Nope. Let's create a new one here. Let's call it Skype. Okay. Ta-da! There they are. All right, let me minimize this, guys, and we will be at it.
Sorry.
All right. Look at that. I think I got you pulled in. Let's see here. Oh, nope, you disappeared. This is killer. This is some bullshit today, let me tell you that much. One more time. I'm going to try to drag you in here. Window capture. Add existing. Did you guys finally get little man down?
Yeah, I think he's asleep. He went down pretty easy.
You didn't have to beat him?
No.
Not yet. Yeah.
I see what it's doing. I'm sure everybody around the world is right now loving us dealing with technical issues. Josh, you probably could come over here and help me out, I'm sure.
No, I can barely turn the computer on. Let alone figure out the issues. Nah, there's that all. I'll pause it. Did it work?
No, it's giving me an error on your end. Let me try it one more time. Give me just a second. All right, damn it. This time it's going to work.
That video is at Indiana, is it?
I think so.
In the background?
How can you tell?
No, there's a road close to the track. The only track that we ride next to a road.
Hey Cam, does your phone have any juice in it? Because for some reason Skype is giving me a hell of. Oh nope, there we go. Look at that. Very last second, we got you in. God Almighty, how ridiculous is this crap? All right.
Too many people trying to do this
Online
this
thing.
live thingy.
Yeah, well, we were actually throttled earlier today because of the internet. The internet throttled us a little bit, but now we're back at it. All right, guys. So sorry about the delay here. Chad Andrews here, Total Cyclist, and I'm with Cameron Strang. Cam, can we call you Cam?
Sure, that's
Cam,
fine.
can we call you Josh? Josh Strang.
Yeah, that'll work.
That'll work. Josh, you got an awfully funny accent, man. Where are you from?
Australia originally. So been in the US now since 2007. So pretty much home here.
So let's kind of
chain.
let's kind of go over what you do, who you are, and then obviously we'll bring Cameron into this. Josh, you moved here from Australia, and obviously on the background people can see what's going on. You have a tendency to race motorcycles for your living, right?
Yeah, so that's what I get paid paid pretty much to advertise for motorcycle manufacturers. So at the moment I race for Kawasaki, and so they pay me to race their motorcycle, which for any sport or any athlete that gets paid, they're pretty much getting paid to advertise for product. So whether it be someone in cycling who races the Tour de France, they're getting paid by a bicycle company. It's hard to explain. Some people don't understand racing.
Well, explain it to us.
Well, the way I see it, sponsors are paying athletes to sell product. So whether they want athletes to win, they want them to sell the product, or whether they want them to be an ambassador to their brand, they just want to sell product. So, and that's for them, I guess, manufacturers or businesses or sponsors or however you want to look at it, they as part of their advertising budget at the end of each year will go into racing or events and stuff like that. So pretty much that's what I do. I race for Kawasaki. They pay me to advertise for them, and I'm fortunate enough to make a living out of it and get to race pretty much the whole east coast of the US.
Why is it just the East Coast?
I think just for so it's cost effective for the people who are actually buying the product. Because if there was races in California or even as far as Texas, for the regular person to get off on a Thursday or a Friday and take off work, it's just not cost effective for them to take off 4 or 5 days every second week to travel to a race to pretty much turn up for fun. So
Right.
For us, we could race coast to coast because we get paid to do it, but for our series is an East Coast based thing, just because of the majority of people that do the races, they're amateurs and privateers. They're the people who buy the products and pay to go racing.
To give you guys some insight before we bring Cam into this, I've been to several of Josh's races. In full disclosure, I coach Josh, and Josh is a damn good cyclist and mountain bike rider. But just to watch the GNCC series and the Full Gas series, the Full Gas is more like like I don't want to take words out of your mouth, Josh, but it's like trials. It's like you have 6 elements throughout the course of the weekend, and your time trial times actually kind of add up, and at the end of the weekend, who has the least accumulated amount of time is the winner. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah. So with the 2 series we do, the Full Gas, is pretty much a series where you sprint at 110% for 6 to 12 minutes, and the total time of racing throughout the weekend might only add up to an hour and a half. So it's more of a high intensity, fairly easy for anyone to go and do. The lowest score wins, where the GNCC is a 3-hour endurance race, where pretty much the first person across the line is the winner. Whether that takes 2 hours 50 minutes or 3 hours 15 minutes, depending on how many laps they decide we're going to run.
Right. Do you guys hear my dog? You don't hear her snoring? Good. Because they're like tag teaming each other. Winnie's right there. Fancy's in there, and Fancy will snore, and then Winnie will snore, and it's just kind of like this. I got one better.
Lucky our dog won the living room. She'd probably be dreaming of snoring.
Yeah.
All right. So, Cameron, we'll just call you Cam because I think that's easier for everybody to chime in on. You're Josh's wife, but seeing you at the races, you're way more than Josh. I mean, did you think that you would be doing this when you married into a motorcycle racer?
No.
No.
So I teach kindergarten Monday through Friday, and then a lot of times when we leave, either I have to take off Friday or I have to take off Monday if we have a far away race. But most of the time we leave after work on Friday, and we travel to a race. And usually Saturday he'll pedal the track, and I just make sure that he's eating enough and drinking enough. And then Sunday is pretty full on, especially now with our little man with us. He's almost 2. So I have to control him and Maverick on race day. Control Maverick and Josh on race day. Yeah. But yeah, definitely didn't see myself doing this, but it's been pretty awesome. Now, come Monday mornings after a long ride home from a race, it's hard to teach 21 kindergartners, but
Oh my God.
Yeah.
21?
Yeah, it's full on.
After dealing with Josh and Maverick in a weekend.
Yeah. So some weeks.
So 23 essentially.
Yeah, especially when it's every weekend, it's pretty tough, but it's fun. I mean, it makes it exciting and eventful. So.
Wow. Yeah, I was actually at the last one before the COVID hit. No, I was at Bucks Creek.
Yeah, the very first GNCC.
And it for those of you guys who are watching the stream, it is lights out. It's crazy. It's crazy in a good way because obviously racing is racing, whether it's NASCAR, motorsports, mountain biking, road cycling, whatever. But I liken GNCC racing very similar to a mountain bike race, except for one caveat. The pros go first, and then they release the hounds. And I don't know how What is it, like 10 waves after that? So you guys are picking through.
Yeah, I think that they probably average 300 riders in an afternoon race, I guess.
Yeah.
So literally, at what point in the race are you catching the people like me?
Yeah. Well, so they have a morning race where like the true beginners will race. So luckily we don't race them because we start catching people about halfway through the second lap. Depends how short or how long the track is. So if the track's a little longer, we won't catch people till towards the end of the second lap. But if it's a shorter track, we'll start catching them about halfway through the second lap. But just before the first hour, probably.
Pretty respectful.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time they just rep.
Wait a minute, I'm getting conflicting information here already.
Well, that was a difficult question. Are we respectful or the riders respectful?
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yes.
So
both.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a fairly respectable person, whether I'm racing or just walking down the street. So I try and give the lap riders as much room as I can because, like we said 5 minutes ago, they're the people paying my bills.
Right.
So they're the guys that go out Monday, Tuesday, and they go buy fly racing gear, or they'll go buy Kawasaki or parts or whatever. Like, so they're the people who, if you piss them off when you pass them, they're the guys that are going to be like, I'm not buying stuff that Josh Strang wears because he ran me off the track that day. So I try to get past all the lappers as cleanly and as respectfully as I can. But sometimes we run into some problems, and I never run into anyone on purpose. But my go-to is a few choice words.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think, and for the people that do our races, they understand that, like, this is our living. So when someone's not getting out of the way, and they get yelled at, they know they're in the way. So I know there's some people that aren't real respectful when they go past the guys, but for the most part, it's pretty good, and that's what makes, like, it would be boring if there was just 20 or 30 people on the track at once.
Yeah,
So
because
that's what makes our whole series great is the amount of people that are always passing, and then the variety of riders that are on the track at once.
you can see it right back there. That's what they're racing on. It's legit. It's fun. All right, so the reason why I invited you two on is because the whole world is kind of been turned upside down. Whether you are thinking the pandemic is going to take the world over and we're all going to turn into zombies, or is it, hey, let's take a more practical approach? Josh, you and I had a conversation yesterday after your workout, and you had a very interesting take on this whole thing. And do you mind kind of reiterating that? And this is the kind of day it's been for me, so I'll listen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I believe that the whole thing is a crisis or is not good for everyone in the world. I just think that people are sometimes they overreact to. They just go a little bit silly, and I think you see a lot of people posting about people going silly. For example, people buying toilet paper for whatever reason, I don't know. So there's one example that, like, we don't need to go into it more, but there's one example. So I just don't understand why some people don't just listen to what the smart regular people have to say about the whole thing. Stay away from people or stay away from groups. Like, that's all you have to do to get through.
What do you? I don't understand. When you say stay away from people, what does that mean to you?
Well, to me, it's just distance yourself from whatever. Like, so they've closed down restaurants here now. I mean, just be smart. I just don't understand. Like, just use your brain. I don't know.
Not much has changed for Josh in his daily.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't rely on a lot of people to do my job. So you and I communicate with my training, but for the most part, that's over a phone call, text message, or through the Training Peaks app. So
right.
I don't need someone or a bunch of people I don't need an entourage to go out and go for a bicycle ride or go to the track and go ride. I can go do it. I can go bicycle ride by myself, and I'm 100% happy to do that. So for me, this whole thing hasn't changed a lot. I don't like we're not going outside as much and that sort of stuff. But as far as my training week goes, I can still pretty much do everything I need to do.
So, all right, Cam, give me your insight on this. And what are your thoughts? Kind of, I know because you guys, Josh being Aussie and a typical laid back kind of personality, and you're a good old Southern girl, which is what I am. I want to consider myself a Southern guy. Where do you lean on this?
So of course, coming from like the kindergarten teacher,
all right, Cam. Oh, sorry.
And I've been put kind of like out of work, but we're obviously still being paid. We're just working from home. And trying to teach kindergartners online has been interesting. So I think my whole mindset with it is that I know it's a crisis, but I don't think it almost feels surreal. And I think that's how it is with Josh too. Like, we obviously, thankfully, very thankful that we don't know anyone that has come down with this. So it kind of just feels like, I don't know, in my sense, it's kind of eerie. Like, you drive down the road and there's not that much traffic, and restaurants are closed and businesses are closed. That's kind of weird. But as far as like the whole crisis thing, like, obviously I know it's bad because obviously I've been put out of work. So, I mean, it's I don't know, it's just kind of surreal to me, really. I don't think it's really hit home in a sense because we don't know anyone that's sick with it. But like I said, obviously we're thankful for that. But yeah, it's just kind of wild. It's just.
Well, so my estimation is that you both kind of have the same feeling about it.
Yep.
Now let's turn it to where I really want to go with this. Obviously, Cam, you with being at home with Maverick, he's young, so and Josh, you're home most of the time during the week being mom and dad. So things like that really haven't changed much for you guys. But where it really does change is the race series has been put on pause. Mm-hmm. It's like full pause. And over the past week, I've been talking to pro athletes, pro cyclists, pro whatever, and I've got more coming up. I've got World Tour riders coming up. I've got just an eclectic mix of people. From your thought processes, what goes on in your brain when, okay, we can train and we can do our daily routine, which is fine because that hasn't changed. But when you get to the weekends, that has changed. And what's your mindset, Josh, when you know that damn well we should have had 3 back-to-back weekends of racing, but yet we don't now?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's another thing, just common sense. I mean, they've done the right thing of cancelling or postponing races in advance. So there's nothing you can stress about that. Like, there's no point in stressing about that kind of stuff. And I think, honestly, that's what makes me the most worked up about this deal. Like, people get upset because they can't go to the restaurants or events get cancelled or races get cancelled. And what is silly, if athletes or people who are training to go do races or events get upset, then that's the worst. That's so stupid. I mean, if I don't, I'm racing, I think 26 weekends out of the year or something. So I get a couple of, so we're still not sure when we will race again. But I'll keep doing what I have to do until we sort of training to go do races or events.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. So your mindset is, and do you think it might be some sort of the benefit to you is your upbringing? Was it your upbringing, or is it just because we all know as bicycle racing that you get Aussies out of competition, they're super chill and they want beer. Get it?
Yeah.
When they're competing, it's different.
Yeah.
But are you kind of marrying those two together during this time, or is it just you see that everybody else is panicking and you just want to go, wait a minute, this ain't for me. I got to chill the hell out.
It's a mixture of both.
I mean, what is the point of panicking? What do you gain out of panicking? Because this is just my example. I don't get to race next weekend. I think I had a race in May. So far, I think they've postponed 4 events up until, because they haven't got any further whether they can race after that. So they've postponed 4 events. There's no point in me getting upset about that. What I can do for myself is prepare for, I think the next scheduled race that hasn't been postponed yet is April 20th or something. Oof. So from what I've heard, that's not going to run. But I'm going to prepare for that weekend. And if it gets postponed, it gets postponed, and then I'll start preparing for the next one that is possible to be. And I know for me, because my season is so long and drawn out, we never have a peak where a cycling race, the athlete or the cyclist has to come into form and then peak at a certain time. So we're kind of on different levels there. So I feel like I can maintain my fitness level fairly easily as long as I can keep doing the stuff I'm doing right now. So for me, there's no point being stressed about not going racing. I would like to go racing because the possibility to make more money through bonuses and that sort of stuff is good. But as far as it affected me, it doesn't affect me at all. I just prepare for the next opportunity when we do get to go race.
Very interesting. Now, Cam, because you're so integrated into the racing for GNCC and Full Gas, and of course Josh being your husband, and Neil, what was your mindset? Was it kind of like, oh my God, because in bicycle racing, and I have a sneaky suspicion in GNCC racing and Full Gas, that once we get through, because we will get through this, the back end of the race season is going to be so damn loaded that it's going to be like bam, 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 bam. So from a coaching standpoint, I have to mentally prepare our athletes for that. But for you, as a wife and support staff and trying to keep everything from going unhinged, how do you look at it?
Honestly, I kind of look at it as the one thing I've learned since I've been with Josh is that he looks at racing as his full-time job. He's always told me that he wished he could create an app to chart everything he does all day, every day, because people will ask him what do you do? You race dirt bikes, but what else do you do? Whereas he would like to be well, I spend this many hours doing this and this many hours doing this. So I think the whole canceling racing thing, he still looks at this as his Monday through Sunday to Sunday job. So every single day he still has something to do. So I think that's why this whole canceling the races hasn't really stressed him. Now for me, I still hold out hope that we're going to have a race the week after Easter, just because if we don't, then yes, the fall will be back to back to back to back.
I think summer and
oh yeah, the summer, yeah. And see, I don't like racing in the summer. Even if we go way up north, I just think it's too hot, and that's the only time that technically I have off. So I like to be home some in the summer, but I'm just hoping that they keep the race after Easter. I mean, we raced last weekend in Georgia, so we're just going to hold hope that maybe, who knows.
Well, for those of you who really want to know, this is Josh's craziness, and you probably can't see it because the camera's locked in, but he trains, man. He is a true pro, and he has to. He rides the road bike, the mountain bike, all to prepare, which is what a lot of motorsports athletes are doing now. They're using the bicycle to make themselves better on the motorcycle and in the car. For those of you who are just joining us, Chad Andrews here. I'm with Josh Strang, motorcycle racer, dirt bike racer, in the GNCC level. You can follow him on Instagram, just Josh Strang, and Twitter. And Cameron, his wife, who I've seen and been pretty impressed with at every race that I've gone and see Josh race. It's just full-on chaos for 2.5 hours, And Josh, tell us a little bit about, before we go back to the COVID thing, because I know everybody's into it. Is your breakfast, because we've talked about...
into it.
What's that?
Too into it.
Let's get into the food. Your food is very similar, your preparation is very similar to a world tour or elite bicycle racer.
That's good.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, because you're fueling right, you're carbon right, you're doing right, and the main component, the main key is that it's funny. I'll go and look at Josh's heart rate profile during a race, and he is at or just below threshold for the better part of 3 hours on a motorcycle. And he sent us, Cameron actually sent us, and you'll see where I'm going with this. She sent me a picture, hey Fancy, of Josh just doubled over in the back of their transportation home after a race because he was so wrecked. Tell us about the physiological aspect of what you go through when you race a GNCC race.
I don't know. It all depends on, well, it's some of it's mental. So let's say so the first round was difficult because it's your first round hitters. Then the second round we had was in the sand, so you wouldn't ever compare that because that one was the one I was killed over in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
The last race I feel is the best example. The track was obviously destroyed and ruined by the time we got on it, but you'll see a lot of riders. I've been doing it for so long now. I kind of know what I feel like. I know what's gonna where you start you get fatigued and start to wear out. So for me, normally it's usually about a lap and a half, 2 laps before the end. And if you're in a good position, so let's say you're in a top 5 or a top 3, the last 2 laps are a lot easier to deal with. And especially if you're on a podium position, it doesn't really matter how fatigued you are. It's all about more of a mental strength than a physical strength. So I don't know I think this is my 14th season, and for 11, 12 years, I kind of did everything and learned everything by myself. So I think I was always learning things and doing things wrong, or maybe not wrong, just differently to how they should be. Where now I feel like I've got my program a little more sorted, so I'm more prepared for the whole race instead of just maybe the first 2 hours or all that sort of thing. So I think, physiologically, I think was yeah. Anyway, so I think like the last anyone can do. You can do anything for 2 hours. I think like anyone can go out and do one of those races for 2 hours. You can go ride a bicycle for 2 hours. But at the GNCC, it's once you get past that 2 hours is where you'll find out how difficult it actually is.
And I'm gonna hate to use this term, but it's gonna fit. You've got old man strength. The main thing with you, I think, right now is more recovery and nutrition because you do have so many years under your belt. Whereas some of the youngsters that you're coaching right now, it's all about teaching them the mechanics, how to be a better motorcycle racer, some of the things that they need to do to become a better motorcycle racer, because you're at a different place than they are in their lives.
I believe I have a little bit of old man strength in comparison to some of the other guys anyway. And I also like to think I'm a little smarter than some of them as well, where I think that helps. Just smarter. Like you said, you're helping me be smarter actually as far as recovery and nutrition and that sort of stuff goes leading up to the race and then after the race, which for me I think was a big problem I had pretty much since I've been over here, was after the race I would go home and just because I'm trying to get home, I would just get McDonald's or I would just get something crappy. Where now after a bigger race, I was trying to stop and get some real food, providing I can eat. Depending
you can eat, right?
Depending how difficult the race was, and I found that I can recover quicker, and I feel a lot better on Monday and Tuesday, where before it might take me till Wednesday to where I feel back to normal. So, and then as far as helping the kids, I've just started helping a couple, and
it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
It is hard.
And I feel like I have so much, like,
I've got so much to teach you.
And then there's some. I don't know. I think my parents just. I was a listener growing up. I wasn't really. I never talked back. If someone had some advice, you would listen, and if you wanted to use the advice, you would use it. If you didn't like the advice, you wouldn't back chat or argue. Which the kids that I help out don't back chat or argue, but there's a lot of kids that I've helped out or just trying to give advice to.
That was excuses.
And there's always an excuse. So I feel like I hate that. That's one of my biggest things in racing is I hate making excuses. If I got beat or if I wasn't in shape, then I wasn't in shape. There wasn't a problem with the motorcycle, or there wasn't a problem with the lap rider who made me crash. Maybe it was me being out of energy that ran into the lap rider that made me crash. So I see it with kids. The biggest thing with kids is making excuses and just not taking advice. Like I feel like
Do you feel that the advice coming from you now is coming from a place that you are comfortable administering it, or is it more just like what's your approach right now? I know that I've given you some advice and I've given you some ideas, but what's kind of your approach right now on how you're working with kids and other people that are interested in getting into it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm trying to help the kids I'm helping. I'm trying to give as much advice I can at the moment without interfering or distracting my racing, because at the moment that's still 110% of my efforts are going into my personal racing. But I want to start giving out advice and helping other people. Like I said, I've been doing it for 14 years. I feel like I have enough knowledge and enough good advice to give out to be helpful to a lot of people. So I think it's really just finding the right people who want to listen and want to take the advice that we want to give them.
Right. All right. So as we start closing down on this, currently you're sitting second overall in the GC in the series, right?
Yeah, second in the GNCC, yeah.
And with where you are right now, if you were to flash back 10 years ago, first of all, would you think to yourself, I'd still be racing? And number two, would you feel that you would still be sitting second overall in the whole series? As a former champion.
10 years ago.
10 years ago, I was a former I was
the champion.
I was the champion. So that's how long it's been. And I don't know, at 22, you don't think about being 32. So I really don't know. If I look back at it, I feel like I'm faster and fitter now than I was. So I wish I could go back 10 years ago being like this, because I would win a hell of a lot more races.
So you felt like you won the championship based on talent alone, not on training.
No, back then I feel like I was the fittest guy because no one trained. Back then I had no idea. I just trained, and I probably did too much, I believe back then I did too much, but because I was a kid I could recover, and it didn't affect me as much. But back then there was guys that were fast, but they didn't train like I did. I feel. So for me to win on the weekends back 10 years ago, it was easy. I was doing it. I felt like I could do it easy, and I felt like I was the fastest guy. Where now, 10 years later, people have trainers and people pay for trainers and riding coaches and that sort of stuff. And it's more. I think it's like every sport. It's progressed and elevated, and I feel like for me to keep getting paid, I've had to go with that and elevate and progress as well.
Now, Josh, a couple more questions before I do let you go. And sorry, I've got this. For some reason, the sound just popped on here. And Cam,
yes.
How are you going to, with the COVID-19 and everything that's going on and your stress level and I'm not going to call it stressful because, again, everybody's world's been flipped upside down with this. But this summer, the summers are for teachers. In North Carolina, they're off for 3 months. So you're off for a month and a half, one would guess. Mm-hmm. So we are going to now transition to where if everything goes the way that we hope it goes, and by July we're having racing, there goes your July and August.
Yeah.
Are you prepared?
I guess. I mean, I don't really have a choice.
There's not really a choice.
Kind of how our May was going to be. We raced back to back every weekend in May, and that was going to be hard because I was going to be working. So, I mean, you just kind of, like I said, it's busy but it's fun.
I think, like, Cam, we agree that, I mean, it's good that Cam has a job. I think it's good for her sanity. It's good for mine. And I think it's just good. It's real world. Like, it's good for everyone that she has a job, I believe. So if there's a point where she can't come to a race on the weekend, that's not going to, again, that doesn't affect me. I'm not going to be stressed. I have a good team and a lot of people that help me at the races. So, I mean, if for whatever reason she has to stay at home, even if she's out of school, if she wants to stay at home with Maverick for the weekend, then I'm okay with that. So that, I think, as far as there's no point, if she decides she doesn't want to come, there's no point stressing about it for us. I think I feel like I've got too many grey hairs for being a 31-year-old. So I already stress enough, and
not about me though.
Whatever reason, yes, like a family, she's out of school. She wants to stay at home. Like you said, the Aussie lifestyle is kind of a chill. We try and chill and relax as much as we can, and just try not to worry about things that are not worth worrying about.
I try to really focus on going to the GNCCs, and then I usually stay home for the sprints because the sprints are 2 days, and it's just a lot on Maverick. So if I do the GNCCs, it's usually like every other weekend, so I usually can do those ones.
And you probably feel like you're a little bit more help those weekends as well?
Yeah, I think I'm much more needed at the GNCCs as far as like, I mean, he says like he doesn't stress about me not being there, but I like to know like he has food cooked and he has bottles ready and like.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with food because it'll be better. Like if she didn't come, I think she didn't come to a couple last year. She just pre-cooked some stuff for me, and I just had to heat it up. So, but there's definitely parts of the day where I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I wish Cameron come.
Yeah. He's bad at just grabbing whatever's in front of him and not just cooking something.
Not McDonald's, man. Not McDonald's.
Not fun, Mickey D's at the track.
No Mickey D's.
All right. Well, I mean, I can't thank you guys enough for jumping in, and I can only hope, well, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you a point-blank question. Are you guys a little bit worried about Maverick during this time?
No, like I don't know.
Or do you like stick him in a closet and just say, here's some food. Until we're done with this, don't come out.
Yeah. Luckily, there hasn't been too many cases as far as kids go. I mean, but Maverick definitely puts everything in his mouth. I think he's getting his 2-year molars, so everything goes in his mouth and that kind of thing. So, but I'm not really like a germ freak. Like I just kind of try to let him just play in the dirt and be outside. And we take our vitamins every day. So my thing is like, we're doing what we can. I mean. Yeah,
and that's another thing with what I feel like what have said the whole time. There's no point stressing about something that you've got no control over.
Amen.
So if Maverick happened to get it, then we will deal with it and take the steps necessary to fix it. Yeah. But at the moment, he doesn't have it, so there's no point us worrying about it. We will, like Cam said, we stay away from big groups, and I mean, we're not going to the McDonald's playground.
Yeah.
but like we're going to let him go outside and play in the dirt because I mean that's what kids do. We're not going to stress about it, and we'll just be smart about it all, and hopefully it passes sooner rather than later.
For sure. Well, it will, and I look forward to seeing how it goes down for the rest of the season. Do you want to tell everybody what movie you were watching when I called?
I actually just turned on Transformers, the movie version, not the kid version.
Not the kid version, but the big kid version.
Yeah, big kid version.
But Chad, I wanted to leave something with y'all before we left. So I found an article today that's like out of a wellness blog thing that I read, and I thought it was pretty cool because it kind of goes with everyday life, but it also goes with this whole like stress level that everybody's at. And the title of it is The Importance of Gratitude When Times Get Tough. So it even says in the article, like, not the cheesy hashtag blessed situation, but just say different parts of your day. So like right now, think about 5 things that you're grateful for. And not like big things. I mean, it can literally be, it says if it's difficult, try to imagine your life with what it would be like without things, people, or experiences. So, before you go to bed at night, it says appreciate all the things that have worked for the day. So kind of come up with things that went right for the day.
And it sets the table for the next day.
Right. And the part that I liked said, with your body, it says when you switch your attention to experiences, people, and things that make you feel appreciative, even for a moment, every part of your body benefits. So that's the kind of thing, like, after I read it, I just felt like it was kind of a slap in the face. Kind of like, if we use our energy as far as thinking about things that benefit us, like, I can think about 10 things that I did with Maverick today, which was more positive than thinking about the news and how Charlotte's now under, like, you can't leave your house and restaurants aren't open and stuff like that. Like, it's so much more positive. And then it says begin and end each day thinking of 1 or 2 things that challenge you to keep your mind focused and appreciate a situation. So, I don't know, I just thought that was a pretty good article with the whole negative, like, I don't know. It's just hard to get, like, away from all that virus stuff. So.
Well, clearly you're doing a good job of it. It's funny, I wanted to get back to that with some of our clients at Total Cyclists, is when you journal, write down 3 things that you're thankful for, that you're happy about every night. And I've kind of gotten away from that, and I think this is a perfect time. Thank you very much for refreshing my memory. It's like, I'm sure that Josh, hey Josh, tell me 3 things right now.
Thankful for.
My wife. No.
Hey, no, that's a good one.
Like, let's just, off today. I had a really good day riding. My wife, and I'm healthy.
I mean, those are 3 huge things. How many people in this world would love to have those 3 things?
Yeah, I mean, it even says stuff like walking up and down the steps. Like, to us, that's so simple and sounds so silly, but at the same time, like, you're doing whatever you want. Like, there's so many things that we should be appreciative for that it even says, like, our brains are programmed to find problems and faults and negatives in, like, every situation. So trying to program our brain to think about, like, what's good today instead of what's always bad. So, I don't know. I just thought it was a pretty good article. And it's not, like, cheesy. Like, sometimes
No.
like you read these kind of inspirational articles and you're like, oh my gosh. But this one was actually pretty good, that it talks about what worked. So.
Well, you're getting love on Facebook about this article. So I want to say thank you very much. I think this is the perfect way to end this thing. Josh, Cam, thank you so much for joining and putting Maverick down early enough so we don't have to deal with. I'm surprised my cats and my dogs didn't. I mean, this is like 4 days in a row.
He'd be climbing all over us right now.
Well, no. As soon as I say that, the cat goes back and rings the back doorbell. But listen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I'm excited for what's going on. So far, it's so great, and I just can't thank you guys enough during this crazy, wide open time that you took some time out of your night to stop by. So I appreciate it.
No, thanks.
No problem.
And just don't stress people.
Yeah.
There you go.
Find the positives in your life.
See you.
All right, see ya.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Thank you.
All right, you too.
All right, bye.